Q4c is the graph of another parent function that we should be familiar with. Our parent function that we're working with in this is our y equals x squared, which again is going to be our U-shaped graph. And what we want to do is we want to generate some ordered pairs for that U-shaped graph. So we have y equals x squared. Our parent function will have the ordered pairs -2, 4, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. Whatever our input is, we square it. When we square a negative, we get a positive. So that's the ordered pairs of our original parent function. It is the U-shaped curve with these ordered pairs kind of defining the shape. Get it up there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we got some transformations we've got to take care of in this graph. There are several different types of transformations. So using your order of operations, again, just emphasizing, I want to work as we would put in a number for x. What would we have to do first? We'd have to go inside the grouping symbols, and the first thing we have to do is add 1. When we add 1 inside a grouping symbol, anytime it's working inside, it's a horizontal. And since it's addition subtraction, will be a translation. And because it's a little bit counterintuitive, when I see +1, it's going to move it left 1 unit. So that takes care of the +1. Then the next thing we have to do is we have to multiply by this half, because multiplication and division comes before the subtraction. So that's on the outside of our grouping symbol. Since it's on the outside, it's going to be a vertical transformation. And since it's multiplication, it's going to be a vertical dilation. And the vertical dilation, if it's a half, it's very intuitive. If it's a half, it's going to shrink our graph. That's an R. Or it's going to compress it, however you want to word it, by a factor of a half. So it's going to shrink by a factor of a half. And then finally, what we have out here is subtracting 2. It's outside the grouping symbols, and because it's outside the grouping symbols, then it's got to be a vertical. So I got to come down here. This is a vertical. And since it's addition subtraction, it's a translation. And since verticals are pretty intuitive, when it says -2, it's going to go down 2 units. Okay, so how is that going to impact our ordered pairs? So I'm going to show you the transformations on a set of ordered pairs, and you can graph that final step. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take and add 1 to our x values. Well, that's counterintuitive. We said we're going to move it left 1. So left 1 means we're going to subtract 1 from all of our x values. So that means this -2 becomes a -3. The -1 becomes a -2. Subtracting 1 from 0 is a -1. Subtracting 1 from a 1 is a 0. Subtracting 1 from 2 is a 1. So we just performed our translation 1 unit to the left. So all of our x values get moved down 1. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a vertical shrink. Our vertical shrink says take all of your outputs, your y values. Since it's outside, it's going to impact your y. So it says take half of those values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half every one of those numbers. So I'm going to take half of these y values. So half of 4 is a 2, half of 1 is a half, half of 0 is 0, half of 1 is a half, and half of 4 is 2. I have one more thing that we have to do to this. Now I'm going to start a new chart on this. One more transformation on your x, y's, and this is another vertical. Because it's vertical, it's got to have an impact on your y's. So now it's going to take those y values and change them again. So our x's aren't going to be impacted at all. But the y values have to do down 2. So if they're going down 2, now I want to subtract 2 from every one of these numbers. So 2 minus 2 is 0. -2 minus a half is a -1.5. And -0 minus 2 is a -2. And then we got a -2 minus a half again, so that's a -1.5. And we got a -2 and 2 that gives you a 0. So these are the ordered pairs that you want to graph for your final picture. So we got -3, 0. -3, 0 is here. We've got -2, -1.5, so -2 down 1.5. We've got -1, -2, so -1, -2. 0, -1.5, and 1, 0. This is our final look of our graph, the U shape that got moved to the left 1, got moved down 2, and got horizontal, vertically shrunk, or factor of 1/2.